Hi Stamper fans! I've got what I hope is a quick video for you to let you know how I am adapting the new Stampin' Up! Packaging for our stamp sets. So if you remember, our old stamp packaging was like a DVD style case and it had all of the images, right? And then when you opened it, it also had the images imprinted on that paper liner. So you could just stick your stamps right back with the corresponding image. And that's how I always did it. So the stamps would come like this, you know, kind of on the thinner plastic, and then you have the thick plastic on the backing. I would peel those off and put those against these images. The reason I like that is because you always know if you're missing a stamp, so that's really nice. You always know what goes in this set, so if you have a stamp you're using and you have a few stamp sets out, you know which one to put it back on. It's always nice. Plus, it's just helpful for me to see the stamps with the image backing as opposed to trying to, you know, catch the details when everything's clear. So, few reasons I wanted those images. So if you simply peel off the one sheet, even if you stamp these images on like a regular sheet of paper or anything, it's going to be the reverse image of these because these are obviously face up, right? Every time you try to read a saying or anything, it's backwards. So I'm going to show you how to kind of overcome that, and all you really need is some of our vellum cardstock. So you get a new set and it's got this, you know, kind of plastic sandwich around your stamps, which is great for protecting them. What I do is I measure the plastic sheet that it's on. So this one is slightly over 4 inches by slightly over 5 inches. And I cut a piece of vellum that is the same size as that. That way you don't need to worry about fussying and lining everything up, right? So I'm going to pull the thin sheet off. Let's put that aside for a moment. I'm going to leave the stamps face up, and then I'm going to ink them completely. So we're just going to do this all at once. And it's usually much easier to take your ink pad to the stamps in this case than try to hold on to that thin sheet and take them to the ink pad. Okay, now I'm going to lay the vellum flat on our stamps. So you can take a bone folder and try and scrape that across. You can take lots of different things. What I like to do is take one of our really large acrylic blocks and just put it down there, and then I can literally just scooch that around on the vellum. It slides very easily. So if you have any kind of if you don't have the large blocks, but you have any kind of other thing that is flat and kind of slippery like that, I'm sure it will work. All right, so now when you peel the vellum off, you've got a perfect representation of what your stamps are. But again, here's the problem. If I put this the correct way, you know, the ink side up, it's not going to match up because everything's backwards. So first thing you want to do is clean your stamps off. So I usually just take my Stampin' Chamois and I get in there really well. Sometimes I'll actually put this face down on my scrap paper, kind of get a lot of the ink off. You can take a paper towel, do the same kind of thing. And then, yes, I am messy. And this does tend to get a little bit messy. So I will just go ahead and get all of that ink off of there. Now, once you have the ink on the vellum, one of the things about ink on vellum is that it does not dry immediately like it does on cardstock, right? So you're going to want to either set that aside to dry, and I would say for quite a while, like an hour or so, or if you have a heat tool, or probably even a blow dryer, you can speed that along, right? Close up my ink pad. Let's speed that drying along a little bit. Because yes, ink likes to sit on vellum. Vellum is not very porous, and so it just likes to pool on the top of it. So you really do need to help it along. Otherwise, what'll happen is as soon as you touch it or, you know, move it against something, it's going to smear Now obviously this is just a guide sheet, so it doesn't really matter. Like this particular part didn't ink very well. I didn't probably press it very well in that area, or I didn't ink it up very well. So I'm not worried about the perfection of the images on this guide sheet. I just want it to be there so I know what stamps to go in this set and where to put them so that they fit on there. The other thing I sometimes do again is I will put the vellum down, hold it in place so you're not smearing it, and just kind of get any residual ink off. Now there's a couple of different ways that you can use this. You're going to flip it over either way, which is why I use vellum, because you can still see through. You can put this on the back of your thick sheet and just attach it with, you know, your favorite adhesive. And then you have a guide, so when you peel off your stamp, you will have your guide below to show exactly where to put it. The thing that I have been doing, because I have a laminator at home, thanks honey, I have been laminating these vellum sheets, and that does two things. One, it keeps it from smearing, which is nice, but the other thing is then this becomes my thick sheet to actually put the stamps directly on. And then I'll just cover them with the thinner sheet of plastic to protect them. Yeah. So that is how I'm storing mine, and I don't know if you noticed, but I have been tucking the flap of the new packaging in between the two papers, because that way I can just throw my stamps in and out. I don't tend to travel a lot with my stamps, so it's not like I'm worried about them flying out of the packaging. So that is my quick little video on how I am adapting the new stamping packaging. Thanks for joining me.